on the VinceEverettEllison Show to continue our Black History Month. We're going to talk about a serious question today. Show y'all I ain't scared of y'all. Was Martin Luther King Jr. gay? Yeah. We're going to break that one down for you today on the VinceEverettEllison Show. All right. Let's get this thing started. Oh, we're going to get down with it today. Yeah, I'm going to see what y'all can handle. Because we're going to talk about a serious, serious question. Of all the controversial things I brought up, this is numero uno by far. Was MLK, was Martin Luther King Jr., was the dreamer gay? I ain't talking about gay in the happy sense, like, ooh, I'm so happy. Ooh, I'm so happy. I'm just so gay and happy. I'm talking about, was Martin Luther King Jr. a homosexual? Now, it is obvious that he couldn't be completely a homosexual since he got 4 children. He had 4 children. So he was he was known to be a hoe chaser. So he did run women. So the question is mostly, was Martin Luther King Jr. bisexual? All right? All right. That's the question. Now, I know y'all about to, y'all mad at me. Y'all gonna come, it's been rough already. Well, it ain't really been that bad, actually. The comments haven't really been that bad. People have been mostly saying, Vince, thank you so much for telling us about this. Thank you so much for letting us know. Because it's answering a whole lot of questions that people haven't had. People have had for a very, very long time. But we're going to start this with basic facts, okay? Number 1, I don't know. I wasn't there. I was 4 years old when Dr. King died, so I never met him, never saw him, never shook his hand. Everything that I'm getting and I'm telling you today is coming from about 4 sources, all right? 1, Adam Clayton Powell. Y'all know Adam Clayton Powell in the Congress in the 60s. Black minister over Abyssinia Baptist Church up in Harlem. Huge in Black American history. Huge in American history. Adam Clayton Powell, don't get no bigger than Adam Clayton Powell, okay? 2nd is Carl Rowan. Carl Rowan worked for the Johnson administration. Carl Rowan was the ambassador to Finland. He wrote this book called Breaking Barriers in 1991. Carl Rowan was also a journalist. He wrote columns for the Washington Post, New York Times, all of those. He was a big deal. A lot of y'all don't know Carl Rowan. Y'all need to look him up. He's kind of faded from Black history, but he was a big deal while he was alive. Also, we got the FBI files. I know y'all don't like FBI files, but the FBI files have been cross-referenced and all this kind of stuff, okay? All right? And then, of course, we have the great gospel singer by the name of Clara Ward. All right? 4 sources. 4 sources. Are y'all ready to get down with the get down? You ready? Let's go. Got a story to tell. 1960, all right? Martin Luther King Jr. had the Montgomery bus boycott. He's a young man, going strong, trying to make things happen. Civil rights movement, okay? Civil rights movement is a Marxist movement, a communist movement, okay? Trying to integrate the races. Why do you say integrating the races is bad? Basically, on paper, it's not bad. It's forced integration that is the bad thing. Desegregation is really what Black people and most good white people wanted. That's just the right to go any daggone place you want to go whenever you want to go. Very simple. Then you had extremes on either side, Black and white, that wanted separation. Ku Klux Klan, Black Panthers, right? Or just Black people making money off the Black community. They wanted to keep it separate. They was working with the white citizen councils and all these kind of things. So most Black people and white people in the middle just wanted desegregation. But again, King and his people wanted forced integration. There was another small group in the middle. A small group. There was a small group that wanted separation, small group that wanted forced integration, But most people just want to be desegregated. See where we are now? King was part of that little clique in the middle that's fighting for forced integration. Now, why was integration so important to communists and Marxists? Very, very simple. When you listen to it, it makes perfect sense. The communists and the Marxists wanted to take away all of your identity. All of it. They didn't want you to be black. They didn't want you to be white. They didn't want you to be Jew. They didn't want you to be Gentile. They didn't want you to be Protestant, Catholic. They didn't want you to have any ethnicity because they wanted complete control of you because individuality gave you freedom. They wanted a hodgepodge of a population that took orders. They wanted no individual religion. They didn't believe in religion because they didn't want to compete with God for power. They were Marxists. They didn't even believe in the separation of the genders. Women, men, they didn't care about that. You were all one. There was a Marxist concept that is the only way we're supposed to become one is under Jesus Christ. And Martin Luther King Jr. wasn't doing it under Jesus Christ because if he was doing it under Jesus Christ, he would have did it under the auspices of the church, not the auspices of the government. Got it? It wouldn't have been speeches, y'all. It would have been revivals. It would have been him and Billy Graham, which Billy Graham offered to do this with him. Martin, let's do this together. We can bring the races together. King refused. He was going government. Billy Graham and a lot of other people were going straight to the church. So if King was under the auspices of the church, he would have said, I don't need the help of government. I don't need the help of a bunch of Marxists, communists, homosexuals, and perverts, and liars, and psychopaths, and anti-Christian bigots with me. I'm going straight with the people of God. Black, white, I don't care what your color is, Asian, Hispanic, we don't care. And we're going to change the world. Didn't do that. He went straight for the government, which means he went straight for the gun because they wanted government coercion to force us into compliance. The pain is the point. You don't want somebody to do something because they chose to do it. You want them to do it because you made them do it, because you told them to do it. If you don't do it, I'm going to blow your brains out. That's where the power comes from. Because if they choose to do it, they have the power. If you force them to do it, you have the power. They asked the great philosopher, Machiavelli, they said, what is it better to be, feared or loved? Machiavelli says it's better to be feared than loved. Because people fear you, well, because people love you the way they want to love you, but they fear you the way you want them to fear you. In fear, you have the power. In love, they have the power. This is why the Christian religion was so important. The Christian religion says you change people with love, and in love, they make their own decisions. But with government, it is always the gun. It is always fear. You're going to do what we tell you. We're going to pay these taxes. You're going to pay these taxes because I told you to pay them. You're going to stop at that red light because I told you to stop at it. I don't care how you feel about it. You see the difference? So, you got a football team running on the field. Your colors are blue and white. Everybody should conform. Blue and white on that football team. The coach is the power. So you see y'all run out on the football field, run out getting ready to play a game, and two of the players got on red and white. What's the coach going to do? Call you over, pull you off the field until you conform or you can't play. That's Marxism. Everybody is the same under government, but not under Christ. And King was working for government. So, King was going to take his road show to the Democratic National Convention in 1960. Well, there was a problem. Adam Clayton Powell was a Democrat. He was black, but he was also a Democrat. And he was the black Democrat. He had been in Congress for a while. So LBJ and JFK came to Adam Clayton Powell and said, look, man, you know King? Yeah, play out Powell. I know him. You go to Martin Luther King Jr. and tell him, but please, we don't want him to picket our convention in 1960. Adam Clayton Powell said, I'll ask him not to do it. They said, thank you. So Adam calls Martin Luther King Jr. up and said, hey, Martin, do me a favor. Yeah, don't picket the convention in 1960. King basically told Adam Clayton Powell to go kick rocks. King had been given orders. They wanted him to march against the convention. Adam Clayton Powell said, oh, you want to play games, huh? Well, Adam Clayton Powell had some information, probably from J. Edgar Hoover. FBI, that said that Martin Luther King Jr. and Bayard Rustin, the communist, openly gay, right-hand man of King, were involved in a sexual relationship. In the Netflix movie about Bayard Rustin, produced by Barack Obama and Michelle Obama, they talk about this incident where Adam Clayton Powell calls Martin Luther King Jr. and says, if you march against the Democratic National Convention, I'm going to put out this information that you and Adam Clayton Powell, that you and Bayard Rustin have a sexual relationship. And you know what happened? King didn't march. The same Dr. King that had stared down water hoses, dogs, Bull Connor, all these other folks. When Adam Clayton Powell said I had this information, A. Philip Randolph said, well, you know, tell him to go to hell. He can't have information about something that didn't happen, can he? And then Adam Clayton Powell said he wanted Bayard Rustin to be fired. You know what happened? Bayard Rustin resigned. King hired him back later. Oh, but he had to resign. Now y'all tell me something. Why did Adam Clayton Powell get such a response from Martin Luther King Jr. if he didn't have any evidence? I mean, if somebody called me today and said, hey, Vince, if you don't do this and do that, we're going to put out information that you had a homosexual relationship with so-and-so, so-and-so. I'm like, I don't care. That's a lie. You don't have any information like that on me? Shoot away. Matter of fact, that's what 99.9% of us would have said. Man, we just started laughing. King gave in. Adam Clayton Powell sent a girl to King with the information, showed him what he had. King backed down. Those are just facts, y'all. David Garrow writes about it in his book. In the Rustin movie, it is depicted, and Garrow kind of depicts it too, that it wasn't true and that MLK just kind of succumbed to the threat and the pressure because of his homophobia or whatever. But these two situations are depicted. It come one in Garrow's book and one in Rustin. So watch the movie, come up with your own conclusion. Now, that's one. And again, you got a black preacher, Adam Clayton Powell, telling Martin Luther King Jr., I got information that you and Bayard Rustin was getting down with the get down. Y'all was doing the dirty. Bayard Rustin was openly gay, and Bayard Rustin had gotten arrested earlier in his life and been put in jail for having sex with two young white men in a parked car. He went to jail for it. He had to, I think Gavin Newsom pardoned him posthumously. And Barack Obama ended up giving Rustin the Presidential Gold Medal because, like Barack Obama, Bayard Rustin was a communist. And like Barack Obama, allegedly, I don't know if Barack is gay. I can't say that. I ain't going that far with it. But I do know that he's all involved in the LGBTQ and all this kind of stuff. So he gave Bayard Rustin the pardon. Anyway, that's one. Stick a pin in that. Adam Clayton Powell said, King, Bayard Rustin, getting down with the get down. Adam Clayton Powell, two sources, Rustin the movie, Bearing the Cross, David Garrow. Those are my receipts. Check them for yourself. All right. Then we got Carl T. Rowan. Carl Rowan. Now, Carl Rowan was an interesting guy. He was a mover and shaker in D.C. I'm going to read you what they say about him in Wikipedia. He's born August 11th, 1925, died September 23rd, 2000. He was a prominent American journalist, author, government official who published columns syndicated across the U.S. and was was at one point the highest ranking African American in the United States government. That nigga ran something, didn't he? The highest ranking African American in the United States government. That was Carl Rowan. All right now, I'm just kind of tell you something. You got a congressman, black congressman that is a Baptist minister preacher from one of the most prominent churches in America saying King is gay. Now you got at one time the highest ranking African American in government. What did Carl Rowan say? Okay. Carl Rowan wrote in a book called Breaking Barriers in 1991. Carl Rowan said, because, Carl was hooked up with everybody. Carl said, and he called this congressman's name. Carl Rowan said that congressman told him that he had heard FBI tapes of Ralph Abernathy and Martin Luther King together. And that, oh man, I don't even feel like telling y'all this. This even hurt me. But the truth has to come out. Anyway, Carl Rowan said on the FBI tape, Martin Luther King Jr. asked Ralph Abernathy to do a sex act on him. I'm not going to get too graphic with this. And that Abernathy did it. That's what Carl Rowan said. Yeah. It's in this book called Breaking Barriers, written in 1991. So Rowan, why is this important? Why is this important? Okay. Black people are in a bad shape in America. We are beyond our rate of replacement. We're dying as a people. A whole generation of black people were destroyed with Joe Biden and Bill Clinton locked them up in the 90s, and we're feeling the results of it right now. LGBTQ is taking over our young to a point where we don't reproduce ourselves anymore, and abortion is ravaging the community where we don't have children anymore, don't get married anymore. The quote-unquote black church has become apostate, where these jokers right now are even preaching about that abortion and LGBTQ is correct, and gay marriage and everything. It's crazy. And a man like me looks at this and say, where did we go wrong? Well, it's almost like you got a doctor and you go to him and you start getting exponentially worse and worse and worse until somebody in the family stops and says, what's your doctor's name? This is Dr. John Smith. Let's do a background check on this guy first. That's the first thing we're going to do. See if he knows what he's doing. And you go and look at this guy's background check, and you find out this guy his degree is fake. His license has been took. He's kicked out of the Doctors Association. He's been fired from hospitals all over the country. He's a quack. He's a pervert. And then you say, well, I found the reason why, Mama, now why you're sick, why you can't get well. Your doctor's no good. Your doctor lied about himself. God, everything about him, it's not true. The guy doesn't know what he's doing. Everything about him is a lie. Well, that's what I did with Martin Luther King Jr. I did a background check on him. And everything that I thought about him, being a doctor, being a Christian, being a minister, being a man of God, I thought all of this was not true. And then you said, well, now I understand why. We're in such bad shape. We've been running behind a liar, a buffoon, a pervert, a traitor. Jesus said, a tree is known by the fruit it bears. How do you know a false prophet? Look at his fruit. And I looked at the fruit and I went backwards. And I said, the fruit is rotten. Let me see what's rotten in the prophets. Found it was rotten to the core. Then you find this out. And it matches a reprobate mind, a garbage in, garbage out mentality. Fish rots from the head down. So now Carl Rowan comes out and said that these two guys who always roomed together, the night he got shot, they was rooming together at the Rain Motel. I'm just saying. That's what Carl Rowan says. Don't get mad at me. And then you got the FBI files. The FBI files saying that guy was having orgies with men and women. Sometimes when people think about orgies, they think about one man, right? He might be with 3-4 women. That's bad enough. But then you got the orgies where you have naked men with naked women. And I'm going to tell you something. You can say anything you want to. You got a man that want to be in the company of other naked men, and they doing that crazy mess, crossing swords and all that kind of crap. No, there's a lot of gay crap going on in that, okay? I'm just saying. I ain't got no time to be hanging out with no naked man. Especially a naked man that's excited. If he naked and get excited around me, I'm going to beat the living hell out of him. He won't be excited too damn long. I can promise you that. So, king in a room, 5-10 naked men, 5-10 naked women, all of them doing what the FBI said was natural and unnatural acts, unnatural acts being gay activity. King watching and telling people to rape up women. It's just crazy stuff, man. And this is where, and so if you're involved in that type of activity, man, I'm just going to tell you, dog. Come on now. There's a lot of sugar in your tank. You just got to deal with it. I know y'all trying to explain it away. I don't believe the FBI. Look, man, I tell you what, denial ain't just a river in Africa, okay? Because this is where Clara Ward comes in. Now, I told y'all a few shows ago about this prostitute that King was with by the name of Gail, white prostitute, who said that King and Clara Ward and another preacher, oh boy, it's just, I get tired of talking about this stuff, man. You know what? This might be the last one I do on King and his perverted behind. It's depressing. Anyway. Clara Ward was supposed to be C.L. Franklin's girlfriend, who was supposed to be, and C.L. Franklin was one of the King's best friends. So, of course, if C.L. Franklin is King's best friend and Clara Ward is his girlfriend, King's going to take his best friend's girlfriend on an orgy. That's what he does. Good friend, right? So, obviously, Clara was bisexual. Nobody knew that. Now, if you look at the Wikipedia page on Clara Ward, you'll find that her family admits later on that she was bisexual. She's been dead for a while now. But they admit that she was bisexual. How did the FBI know this in 1964? Unless the FBI tapes were correct. You see how the cross-referencing works? You see where I'm going with this? Family admits to it, but the FBI knew it 40, 50 years before the family admitted to it. Because she was running around doing nasty crap with King. Yeah, I don't understand it. And then the coup de grace, man, it's just something that's so stupid, so ignorant. The Human Rights Campaign. I know y'all have heard of them. Human Rights Campaign is this LGBTQ group, the biggest, most powerful one in all of D.C. They gave Martin Luther King Jr., they celebrated him. You ask the question, why would the Human Rights Campaign be giving Martin Luther King Jr. an award? They know something that we don't know. They know something that we don't know. He was surrounded by this island of misfits toys. Wasn't bringing nobody to Christ. Can't think of nobody he saved, somebody he he baptized, nobody who he brought to the altar, nobody. He just indulged in their sinful behavior, took pleasure in it. Indulged and took pleasure. He didn't save Ray at Ruston. Didn't save any of those young children that were coming down with the Freedom Riders. No. Didn't change none of the mind of these radical feminists that wanted to destroy the family. No. And you look at the black community right now, look at the fruit. I mean, the things that were happening in the 60s, you know, you're talking about poverty, which was the biggest problem. They said segregation was the problem. I mean, no one is forced government segregation. But no, segregation wasn't the problem. The problem was that you had black people who felt so inferior, and Martin Luther King Jr. was one of them, that they taught their children that they were inferior. And they even told white people they were inferior. And they themselves were the arbiters of this whole white supremacy, black inferiority complex down south. It wasn't white people. White people reacted to what they saw. And they saw a lot of black people who had a leadership that taught them that they were beneath and they were under, because they benefited from that. Same as they do right now. You had a small cadre of black people that had access to white power to get what they wanted and could also control the black community through that power, and they wanted to keep it exactly the way it was. The old plantation system, the old house Negro trying to hold on to his own position. Kingdom was part of that crew. So it had nothing to do with white people. It had everything to do with us. It still has everything to do with us. And they told that lie that white America had to do this and do this and do that and do that for us to feel better about ourselves and for us to feel better about what we're doing. And that's a lie. Because since that time, things have gotten worse. AIDS didn't exist during Martin Luther King Jr.'s time. Family breakdown was not an issue during that time. Mass incarceration was not an issue during that time. Drug abuse was not an issue during that time. Suicide was not an issue during that time. All of those things have come about because of a sick system that they put in place that tells the black community every single solitary day that they're nothing. And our music now, the hip-hop culture reflects it. And the sad thing is that they are hooking the rest of America to it. And I want to give y'all some advice. America, don't hook on to that. Stay away from that defeatist, ignorant, anti-Christian ideology. Hopefully we'll defeat it. That's why these podcasts exist. By saving black America, we save America also, because we're all in the same boat together. If you're in a boat and you got jokers in the boat trying to put holes into the hull of it, we all go down. But if one group is saved, we're all saved. It's a house in a neighborhood that catches fire. And everybody has to go put it down, because if you don't, the fire going to spread. And it does spread. And right now, a lot of the maladies that were just germane to the black community back in the 80s are now destroying the white community also. It catches on. But we're at a tipping point in America right now. This past election showed that Americans are fed up with the foolishness, that we're ready to turn this thing around. I think that we're going to do it. But we have to understand where we went wrong. And when you want to talk about where we went wrong, you go back to 1963 at the March on Washington. If you're going in the wrong direction in your car, when you find out, oh man, I'm lost, you have to find out where you took the wrong turn. And even if you take a shortcut to get back right, you got to say, I should have took I-40 back there and stayed on 95. But now I know where I am, I can cut across. But you have to figure out where you went wrong. This is what I'm doing for you. I've done a background check on King. Y'all not going to like it. But I give you all the facts. And it all lines up. Was he bisexual? Don't know. Give you 4 people to say he was, including FBI tapes that are going to be coming out pretty soon. Why does it matter? Because it proves he's a liar. He's an apostate. He was a pervert. He wasn't who he said he was. And that should offend you. And if it doesn't offend you, it means you're just like him. This is why we do background checks, isn't it? Credit checks, right? We want to make sure you are who you say you are. And if we find out you lied to us, you're gone. Why doesn't this apply to him? Find out he plagiarized his doctorate degree. Find out he got kicked out of the black church in 1961 for starting a riot and killing a man on the floor. You find out he's the first recipient of the Margaret Sanger Award, set up abortion clinics all over America. Find out he's behind the man out clause in welfare that kicked the black man out of his family and out of his household, that destroyed the black family. You find out that everything that he did had no Christian foundation under it whatsoever. It was Marxist, it was communist. Even when it comes down to him dreaming that one day he won't be judged by the color of his skin, but by the content of his character. Why are you dreaming about how other people view you when your Christian religion says you're not to be concerned about it whatsoever? This is a disgusting topic. Wish we didn't have to bring it up. But we're all grown people here, aren't we? And we have to deal with these unsavory things sometimes. Because sometimes that's the only way you can clean up. You got to clean up a mess. And this is a mess. The question is, do you have the courage to face it and clean it up? Or are you going to be a coward and stick your head in the sand and say, I can't take it, I can't take it, I can't take it, and go through another 50 years of this, seeing your children die, have abortions, and live in poverty? I believe you're going to stand up. Because I'm not going to let you rest. Because I'm here to wake you up. Hope it did you some good today. So join me again tomorrow for another Vince Everett Ellison show. All right, friends, Vince Everett Ellison is here. I want you to go to my website. And on my website, you're going to see a lot of great stuff, man. You're going to see that we got t-shirts, we got caps. You got my books, my documentaries. You got all kinds of stuff on VinceSpeaksTruth.com. Go there. We're dropping new t-shirts. We're dropping new merchandise. My new book, The End of Tolerance, is there. The End of Tolerance. Make sure you get it. Make it #1. If you got my first 3, get The End of Tolerance. It's just as good. And it's telling us we have to end our tolerance with these leftists, these Democrats. We can no longer allow them to sexually groom our children. We can no longer allow them to castrate little boys and call them little girls, run God out of the public square, take away our guns, take away our sovereignty. No longer allow it. So go on VinceSpeaksTruth.com. That is VinceSpeaksTruth.com. Hit merchandise. You'll see the t-shirts. You'll see the caps. You'll see the books. You'll see the documentaries. You'll see it all. And let's keep this ball rolling. God bless you.